Federalism in the United States political system, as laid out by the Constitution, divides powers between the state and federal government. The establishment was intended to protect state interests while having a strong central government. There are three branches of government that provide for checks and balances. The state and federal level of government are somewhat separate from each other, yet there is interaction. For example, federal laws are shaped in part by state interests through the Senate. Additionally, national courts are able to solve disputes between the levels of government, and the U.S. Supreme Court acts as a final arbiter. This federal system aims to balance centralization and decentralization of government, and state power and national power. With the federal system, power comes from the people and authority is shared among the state and national governments. In a unitary system, the authority is from the national government to the states. A confederation is when authority is held within the states. America's foundation, as established in the Articles of Confederation, show difficulties that can arise with this system. The establishment of strong states and a weaker national government created challenges when addressing national issues such as war debt and foreign affairs. Federalism has changed throughout the history of the United States to maintain a balance between state and federal powers. In 1870s, dual federalism evolved, where governmental power was divided into the states and federal government, which acted as two separate spheres. The goal was to provide local autonomy and individual liberties. When the Great Depression hit in the 1930s, Americans faced new economic hardships. Cooperative federalism developed as a result for the need of a strong, coordinated response from the national government. Under this model, state and national government actions were coordinated. A consequence of cooperative federalism was it led to disparities across states in benefits and coverage. During the 1970s, new federalism emerged. Under President Richard Nixon's administration, general revenue sharing programs were created to give state and local governments funds to accommodate for diversity across states. The national government needed state cooperation to accomplish its objectives. Grants offered incentives for states to work toward selected national goals. Block and categorical grants were given to states to subsidize the cost of implementing federal programs. The majority of federal grants to state and local governments were for health-related programs, such as Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program. Also known as CHIP, this program is funded jointly by states and the federal government to provide health care to eligible children. The program is administered by states according to federal requirements. While in some cases the federal government provides incentives, there are other cases where state and local governments receive unfunded mandates, which impose obligations without providing compensation. The REAL ID Act is an example of an unfunded mandate, where certain security features were required on ID cards to enhance public security. It was estimated that the REAL ID Act could cost states more than $11 billion over 5 years. There are some topics in government that belong to the federal, state, and local governments. Matters of national interest, such as foreign affairs and national security, belong to the federal government. Garbage and recycling collection is a matter of local government. With competitive federalism, there are some policy issues that have changed as a result of the roles of state and federal governments. Topics such as marital rights and abortion are known to be topics of contention between state and federal governments. Because of this, interest groups become involved by selecting the level of government that they calculate to be most receptive to their political views. There are many advantages and drawbacks of federalism. The involvement of interest groups promotes political participation since there are multiple levels of government to take action and shape public policy. The geographic region of states alone can greatly influence needs of a state. While California has concerns over wildfires and droughts, the central region is concerned over protecting bodies of water. Federalism allows for these states to address their specific needs and interests. Finally, the diversity of public opinion influences state decisions on topics such as gun control. This can impact the differences in concealed carry policies across states. To contrast, perhaps the largest drawback in federalism is the creation of social and economic disparities among states. Median household income can vary drastically among states. There is also great disparities among public education spending per student across states. A quality public school education provides substantial individual benefits, which in turn benefit our communities economically and socially. Knowing the history of American government and federalism can allow for better understanding about today's political system and climate.